Hey guys, welcome to another Scratch tips and tricks tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to be learning about how to get graphic effects to be more smooth on sprites. And when you're done, you're going to have a program similar to this. So if I press the green flag, and if I hover over the Scratch cat, as you can see, it smoothly gets more transparent. Now, how I do this is actually not too difficult, but it will require that you know a little bit of basic Scratch knowledge. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's get into it. Now, unlike in some of my other tutorials where I started from a blank Scratch project and I did all the code from scratch, in this tutorial I already set up the code for you, and I'm just going to talk through what I did for the code and how I got to this point, and that's how I'm going to be doing the tutorial. Alright, let's get started with the actual code. Now, you probably know what this algorithm is. It's a smoothing algorithm that basically takes any choppy movement and it makes it smoother so that your games feel more sophisticated. And if you don't know what this algorithm is, that's fine. I'm going to give you a quick little explanation. But just so you know, I've linked a tutorial in the description down below by Professor Blue, who goes into this in more depth. And just so I know, you should probably give him a subscribe. He does lots of cool content, but back to the video. So, as I said, I'm going to give you a brief explanation of what this algorithm does for those of you who don't know. Basically, if you go to operators and you see this minus, drag out a minus and drag out a division operator. Then in this first slot, put this minus. Then I'm going to explain what these three slots do. Now this first slot is the target value. Where do you want the sprite to end up? And that could be like mouse X, mouse Y, 120, 100. That could be distance to mouse pointer. It could be anything. But this, it could even be direction. I don't think it can be direction, but it's basically your target value. So say I wanted 50, then that would be the target value to where you to where you wanted the sprite to go. Then this is the original value that's at. And together, these two values, they create the change in whatever block you put it in. So if I put like 120 minus size, then this would be the change in size. If I did mouse X minus X position, this would be the change in X. Mouse Y minus Y position, change in Y. I think you get the point there. And this last value is the smoothness. If the number is lower, it's going to be less smooth. If the number is higher, it's going to be more smooth. It also determines speed, but mainly smoothness. So let me actually give you a real life example of where you would use this algorithm, because talking about it is one thing, but actually seeing it is a whole other thing. So here I have a block change size by, and instead of doing just change size by 20, I did this algorithm. The target value is 120 because that's where I want it to go. Then the minus the original value, so this is the change in size, these two values together, divided by 5, which is the smoothness. And obviously in the else, I did 100 minus size divided by 5, because I want it to go back to its original size, but in a smooth way. So if we try this out, then as you can see, if we hover over the cat, then as you can see, it smoothly eases in to 120. However, if the mouse is not over the cat, it goes back to its original size, but everything's just handled gracefully. Now, you may think this is very easy for Ghost Effect, but no. And let me explain to you why. If you go to the looks, as you can see, go all the way down here, and we see the size value block. And that's fine because we have these two blocks right here, change size by and set size to. However, we have this change effect by and set effect to. However, we don't have an effect value block. Why? Why don't we have that effect block? And because the reasons for that go way past me, but basically it's because Scratch wanted to make this easier for beginners and less intimidating, and they'll probably add it in future versions of Scratch. But for us more responsible scratchers, there's actually a really easy way of doing it. And before we do that, let's take a look at some logic. So basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to make a new value block. And when we think about it, all the value block is it's a variable that varies whenever we change these values. Of course, it's not a variable in the traditional sense, but a variable by definition is anything that varies or changes in value. And that's what this size value block is. So effectively what we need to do is we need to make an effect variable, and that could be treated like a value block, which then we could connect the variable to this set effect to block. And that's going to connect the two parameters. So fortunately, I have already made some variables, and if this looks quite intimidating for you, don't worry about it, because we'll only need one of these effects, and that's this ghost effect. And I made all these other variables just so that you have total freedom and you're not just restricted to what I do. Like, you can change the brightness effect, color effect, fisheye, ghost, mosaic, pixelate, and whirl. But for now, we're just going to change the ghost effect. So let me explain to you what I did here. So let's just take these out, and let's go down here and get this code. And let's just move these out of the way. More space. And what this block does is it basically connects this ghost effect to the ghost effect variable. Because if we don't do this, then it's basically useless. I mean, what's the point of changing a variable if it doesn't actually apply to anything? So we're going to put this in here. And if inside the if touching mouse pointer, we don't need to change this looks block anymore. Because we connected this effect block to the variable, we can now change the variable, and whatever the variable changes to will this effect block change to. So what I did was I changed ghost effect by 35 minus ghost effect divided by 5. This is that exact same algorithm except with the ghost effect. Oh, and the round just has us avoid any decimal values just to make it easier. And in the else, obviously, we need to do round 0 minus ghost effect divided by 5. So now, if we do this, if we do this, as you can see, it slowly fades in. It slowly becomes more transparent. In another way of saying it, it ghosts in. It becomes more ghosted, but in a smooth and graceful manner. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this tutorial. Alright, that's it for this tutorial. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, then smash like and smash subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time, everybody. Goodbye.